and that we also have this recorded. And it looks like I am streaming. So if you are tuning in here inside of our Facebook community, feel free to join us here on Zoom so that we can also see your beautiful face. We here have a team that's here with us, and my team's going to go ahead and drop a Zoom link here in the comments as well. So today I'm really excited to kick off 2022 with a special guest here on the CEO Power Hour. I have Xiong, who is a yoga coach and founder of the Vibrant Again method. And her business is Zoua Yoga with Xiong. So in just a moment here, I'm going to go ahead and introduce her. I'm just going to do a quick tech check to make sure that we're on, right? I think we're on. Yes, we are on live. So the best place to be is here on Zoom, because we are going to be having conversations, and this is where Kasho is going to be able to see you and take questions and really, have conversation. And I'm really enjoying this new format. We are really focused this year on inside the Empowered CEO community to really have these weekly shows really be about community. And that's why we're here right on Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Kasho on and give you an opportunity here to get to meet her. We're going to try this. Good morning, Kasho.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
So I'm really excited to have you here. We're going to be talking about how yoga can help you overcome self-sabotage to accelerate your success. So let me just introduce you to Kasho, and we're going to really dive into how she started to step into her empowered CEO self. So Kasho is a certified yoga coach and high performer. She helps high achieving soul-centered professionals to align to their best selves to overcome self-sabotage with vibrancy and mindfulness. Now, we're going to be talking about how through her own entrepreneur journey, she learned how to bounce back from setbacks to get back on her feet much, much quicker. So thanks for joining us today, Kasho.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have this conversation as really you, the first guest of 2022, as part of the CEO Power Hour, because we know how critical mindset is, right? And so for those that are tuning in, I have my Captivate to Close Masterclass that is starting on Monday, January 17th. And one of the sessions we're going to be talking about is mindset, how to shift from the charity employee mindset to prosperity entrepreneur mindset. So Kasho, I know you're going to share your journey in your presentation today, but share with the audience, when did that empowered CEO decision happen to you? When did you finally make that decision and dive right in?
For me, and this is something that I say quite often, is knowing that I'm going in the direction of my peace and knowing what I'm saying yes to. Because once I knew what I was saying yes to, and for me at that time, it was saying yes to myself, saying yes to my business, even though I wasn't 100% clear on what my business will look like. It was this challenge that I accepted to go into the arena of something completely out of my comfort zone. And I knew that was where I was going to grow most. And so saying yes without being 100% sure and just taking imperfect actions and listening to my body, knowing that I am going in the direction of my peace. And that's what led me to where I am right here.
It takes so much courage, doesn't it? It just sounds so simple. Just say yes to what you want and just do it. But there was so much just resistance and hesitation and worry and fear. So I'm really glad that, you're going to be talking about how yoga can really help overcome that self-sabotage. So I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic over to you to go ahead and step into this, and then I'll come back to wrap us up as well. So the show is yours.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for this opportunity to come on today and really talk about this very important topic. I think it doesn't matter what kind of business, what kind of coaching you go into. All of the coaches will talk about mindset. This is something that is is crucial and critical. And if you look into coaching, there are so many mindset coaches because this is important. And I can share quickly that for me, it took me, and full disclosure, I am part of Elizabeth's program, one of her clients. And I started with her last February, and it took me until July to really step into my Empower CEO hat and to really go 100% in on my yoga business. And so that's to give you sort of an example or give you an idea that it takes a long time with the mindset work. And something that, I was very thankful that I at least had yoga and meditation to really help me with the bounce back. But looking at other peers, looking at other entrepreneurs who do, come into this business, it's very difficult. And I know this is something that Elizabeth has, worked with us on is you have to have that bounce back plan, right? And for me, my plan was yoga and meditation. And so that's something I'll share with you later on. But this is a topic that I wanted to dive into because I didn't even consider how much mindset, how much my subconscious, how much all of this would come into play in my first year of entrepreneurship. And when I look at, other entrepreneurs giving advice to people who are looking to come into entrepreneurship, it's a lot of like, learning, doing market research, knowing, about like your why and things like that, which it's all important. But one thing that I discovered and one thing that I would like to share with everyone is that self-sabotage behavior really comes into play. And this is something, if you are an entrepreneur, you know that really this journey really guts you from the inside out. And we'll talk more about why that is here. So I want to start off by sharing this quote here. And it says, if struggle has been all you've known, it's natural to self-sabotage success, fulfillment, or peace. The subconscious mind wants to keep us within what we know, even if what we know is misery. And so our subconscious mind is designed to keep us safe, okay? And we're gonna look at a image here that we'll dive more into that. But before we do that, I wanna lay out the agenda for what we'll be talking about today. So first of all, I want us to all be on the same page on what is the subconscious mind. And then we'll go into 10 signs that you self-sabotage. A lot of us, every single one of us self-sabotage. Okay, we know it. And when we look over these signs together, it's like, yep, that's me, that's me, that's me. And so we're going to talk about that and why you should care to find out why you self-sabotage. Okay, and then I'll go into 3 tips on how to get you started and then next steps. So this is the layout of this 30 to 40-minute presentation here. So bear with me. If you have any questions, feel free to type that into the chat and we'll answer that at the end here too. So what is the subconscious mind? A lot of us, if we look at this, right, we know about the conscious mind, and that's 5 to 10% of our awareness, right? It's our willpower. It's analysis of situations. It's where we make decisions. So when we think of being logical, analytical, that is all in our conscious mind, right? And crazy enough, that's only 5 to 10%. But look below the surface here. And this is where the subconscious mind is, right? Like the autopilot behaviors. So for example, you driving 15, 20 minutes to work, how did you get there? Everything is on autopilot, right? Your beliefs and your values. And oftentimes this was installed when we were at a young age. Our self-confidence, our self-esteem, self-love, right? All of this is in our subconscious mind. Habits and patterns in life, emotions, resistance to change, protection patterns, what might go wrong, PTSD or any old trauma storage, all memories, good and bad. So the most important thing I want you to remember is that within the subconscious mind, there's no concept of time, okay? So everything is happening right here, right now, even if it's something that happened to you when you were 5 years old, okay? And so the subconscious mind plays a lot with the thoughts and the patterns. And so if we're not aware of what's happening below the surface, it's going to jeopardize us, especially when we are entrepreneurs. And so then when we look at the right? That's our willpower. It's our logical way of thinking or way of doing, right? And a lot of us live here. A lot of us this is where we function most of the time. And so think about this, right? Think about this. Like if you're somebody who is at a 9 to 5 job, a lot of things just kind of happens on autopilot, right? You have that sense of security, right? Even within your role, it's pretty consistent. You know what to expect. You know what to predict, right? But we know that within the entrepreneurial world, there's so many things that surface, right? Because every day is a different day. We could get rejected. we we could get rejected by prospects, by potential clients. People could say, "Hey, your program is too expensive," right? And when we do get that type of rejection, then how do we process it, right? Do we process it by going back to our old way of thinking and taking it personal and saying that, hey, that rejection is a rejection of me, myself, my self-worth? Or is it a rejection of, hey, you know what, this is not the right timing for the prospect? So what is that? And you have to be able to decipher the difference, right? And so, like I said earlier, being an entrepreneur, we are constantly having to put ourselves out there, that visibility. There's so many pains, so many growing pains that surface, right? And so that then we get question on, okay, are we really sure about this yoga program? Is it really going to make a difference? We really question our habits of doing things, right? And so here I'm going to talk about um like, why do we do this, right? Like we do this because we're driven by the need to validate our negative beliefs about ourselves. So it could be unworthiness, rejection, abandonment. Okay. And that validation, even if it's not serving us, even if it's not serving us, we have a need to validate it. So here, let's take a look at the 10 signs that you self-sabotage. Okay. And if you resonate with any of this, put the number that you're resonating with in the chat and let us know. Let me know. I'm going to go back and look at it. Okay. So first and foremost, all of these surface in all aspects of our life. It doesn't matter if you are, a program director. It doesn't matter if you are on your healing journey. It doesn't matter if you are in business and you're launching your program. Right here, number one, procrastinating. Right? Who here procrastinates? We all do, right? And then number two is people pleasing. Number three, negative self-talk. 4, waiting for the perfect time to start. 5, not setting or upholding boundaries. 6, making excuses, justifying behavior. 7, setting a goal without having an action plan. 8, surrounding yourself with unsupportive people. 9, getting off track when you start to see progress. And 10, not keeping the promises you made to yourself. And so this is also relevant, especially in the entrepreneur arena, right? Because you are your boss, your own boss. You are the CEO of your own company. And so if you are procrastinating because you're waiting to have everything perfectly line out, your program start to finish, everything, all the details planned out, you will never start, right? And so these are all signs that you self-sabotage. And then, especially in business, if you're trying to please other people, then you really lose touch with your creative self, and you really lose touch with why are you doing it in the first place. Because either we are for them or we're not for them, right? Like we can't please everybody within business. The negative self-talk is huge. And this is huge. It doesn't matter. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you are in business or you are on your healing journey. Everyone goes through this. We all experience this because we're trying to validate all of these parts of us, right? Because that's what we know how. And the most important thing is that the subconscious mind is designed to keep us safe. It is designed to keep us safe. Okay. So I'm going to give you a minute to look at this list. And then I want you to communicate with me in the chat here. Which one of these are resonating with you the most? And you can go ahead and put the number or type it out. Okay. And how is it showing up in your life right now? Showing up in your business, showing up at your job, showing up in your relationships. how these signs of self-sabotaging showing up. So give you a few moments to do this. I'm recovering from a cold, so I'm gonna just cover my camera here really quick to blow my nose. But take a moment here and let's dive into this. Okay. So I'm taking a look at the chat here, and folks are saying people pleasing, not setting up or upholding boundaries, getting off track when you start to see progress, people pleasing and getting off track. So thank you so much to those who are on Zoom and you're sharing that with me here. And yes, number 2 and number 9, right? And not being able to uphold boundaries. So how does this then play out in your business, right? And I have to say that for myself, starting, I came from education, so I was a program director, and of course these were all signs that I myself had experienced, and we will continue to experience these signs of self-sabotage because, like I said, our subconscious mind is designed to keep us safe, and so we are jumping into a whole new arena. Our mind is like, what are you doing? This is different, this is new, let's not go there, let's come back to what's comfortable, right? And if we know that that is just our subconscious mind protecting us, then we can do something about it. But if we start to believe it, if we start to believe and trust everything that our mind is telling and revealing to us, and we accept that as our truth, then we will stay stuck. We will stay down for a very long time. And once you can understand that and question and have this internal dialogue with yourself and say, wow, knowing that my subconscious mind makes up to 95% of my behavior, my patterns, my way of thinking, then when the thought comes up, I have a right to question it. And I have a right to find what are the evidences that shows that I'm just not fit to be an entrepreneur. I'm not fit to do what I'm doing now just because it's something new for me, right? And so really looking for the evidence to support why you have that thought. So all of this is really important. And this is to say that we'll continue to have these signs of self-sabotage as you become an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter where you are, how successful you become, you will continue to have these. But the thing is, how long do you stay down? So what is your bounce back plan? Okay, what is your bounce back plan? How long do you stay low? How long do you stay down? Okay, it could be 1 hour, it could be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. What if it's a whole year and you've invested all this money into getting coached and into starting your business, and yet you can't get yourself out of it? Okay, so these are signs to look for, but signs to also be aware that if it surfaces, for you to really have that sense of awareness to know that, hey, this is not true. Okay, my mind is doing this to protect me and it wants to keep me safe. Okay. So this is resonating with you. Go ahead and share that with me. Let me know in the chat as well. So why you should care to find out your patterns. All right. So remember, in the subconscious mind, it's all about your thoughts and your patterns of doing things. It has no concept of time. And so everything is always happening in the moment. It's always happening in the moment. And I wish that when I've seen psychologists and therapists in the past, and I wish they would have just shown me this conscious and subconscious image, and that would have really helped me accelerate faster on my healing journey and also on my entrepreneurship. But here, why you should care, because if you continue to self-sabotage, it's going to cost you time and money, right? And we know that once we come into the entrepreneurial world, everything is time and money. right? We spend so much money on every single little thing. And so if you're wasting time procrastinating, if you're wasting time being a perfectionist and waiting for that perfect timing to come on live to present your offer, right? To make sure you have everything lined up, everything perfect, graphics are beautiful, tech is in place, then you're going to continue to be stuck, and you're going to continue to stay low and self-sabotage yourself even more, right? And so this is one thing that I really like about working with Elizabeth, is that she really encourages us to be quick and make imperfect actions, right? And I remember the first time, I mean, I think the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur for me is being visible. And let me just give you kind of like the framework. Like I used to be a program director. I'm used to speaking in public to large groups of people, okay? And it was still very hard for me to change from the work that I was doing to the online space. It was a whole new world to me. And so changing my profile photo to be more professional, getting a professional photo taken, and telling my friends and family that, hey, I'm open for business, and to like not hide behind, you know, the work that I was doing, and to not be like, okay, once I'm done in my 1 month commitment with Elizabeth, then I will let the world know that I'm a yoga coach. Imagine that. That would have just been such a waste of time and money, right? And then what you should care is creating about why you self-sabotage is you create a lot of distractions. Just for the typo there, but creating a lot of distractions. You're making excuses, you're seeking outside validations, right? And so it doesn't matter. Here's the thing, you know, like we all self-sabotage. It doesn't matter who you are, right? But it's about how long do you stay down there when you self-sabotage? How quickly can you bounce back? What is your bounce back plan, right? And that's really important as an entrepreneur. And so creating distractions, all right? When you have all the time now, like for me, leaving my 9 to 5 job and then focusing 100% on my yoga business, all of a sudden it's like I have so much time. I don't need to stay until 2 a.m. to work on my business plan. I'm working on my business plan at 9 in the morning, right? But then again, within the online space, there's just so much distractions, right? So, you know, there's like a training on how to use Zoom. There's a training on how to be a coach. There's a yoga training on these different poses and muscles and alignment and all of that. And so there's so much distractions. And so you should care, because then you can be more aware of when these distractions are happening, where are they pulling you towards, right? And you start to make excuses for yourself. And so the most important part I want to drive home on this is that it doesn't matter how much money you spend on your coach, how much money you're pouring into your business. At the end of the day, if you yourself cannot be, if you're not aware that how much your subconscious mind is sabotaging you, if you're not aware of these signs of self-sabotaging, then you are the one who's going to hold yourself back. You are the one who is going to hold yourself back. It doesn't matter how great of a coach you have, they are there to give you the what they are the expert in, right? They're there to provide you their expertise. And if you are using months and months and months of time to get your mindset to a point where you can bounce back quicker, then you are, again, it's going to cost you a lot of time and money. And I'm saying this from a place of love, because I was that person who I took 3 months, 5 months actually in total before I quit my job. And during that 5 months, you know, on my 1 month journey, I was really procrastinating and being that perfectionist person, right? And so that mindset work is so important. And so if you're somebody who is like And the thing was I didn't really know how important this would be until I was in it, right? Until I had to be more visible and on my lives and sell. And it's like all the fears, it just came out of nowhere, right? And these are fears that we don't normally have to encounter, especially we are in a 9 to 5 job, like who's going to reject me in my 9 to 5 job, right? So we don't have to prepare for that. We don't have to encounter it. And so that's why being an entrepreneur, right? Like the subconscious mind comes out to play in the arena of entrepreneurship. And so then the third point here is why you should care is that it drives you. If you continue to self-sabotage and you don't recognize, if you don't recognize that you are doing it, it drives you away from your peace. And this is something that is so important to me. And it's important that I think should be important to all entrepreneurs is understanding what is your sense of peace? What gives you peace? How do you feel when you are at peace? Right? And you can't be at peace if you continue to please people, if you have no boundaries, right? And for me, when I'm working from a sense of peace, I am the most creative that I can be. When I'm speaking to you from a sense of peace, I'm showing up authentically as who I am in this moment. And if I make a mistake, if something should happen, tech goes wrong, I give myself permission to be imperfect because I know you are too. And if I'm showing up and you're not, what does that say about the courage that I needed to have to build up to this point to be able to do that, right? And so that's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that happens when you see an entrepreneur presenting online, when they're speaking to you, when they are selling their program. Can you imagine how much work they needed to have done in the silence of their headspace to get them to with the courage to be brave enough to sell you a piece of their heart, a piece of them that they worked so hard towards, and you could reject them. so, if we are caught up in the whole people pleasing, if we have no boundaries of, what, if this doesn't work for them, at least I'm one step. At least I'm clear on my expectations and what is it that my program offers, right? So you should care. It doesn't matter if you are starting your healing journey, or it doesn't matter if you're starting your business or you are in your business. You need to care about, and you need to know and recognize the patterns of why you self-sabotage. Here's a quote that it just resonates with me so deeply, and I want to share this with all of you. If you load responsibility on a man or a woman unworthy of it, he or she will always betray themselves. Read that again. Read that to yourself. Read that again and type it in the chat and let me know if this is resonating with you. Share with what this means to you. I'm going to take another break here to grab some water, but go ahead and share that with me. So what stands out in this quote is the responsibility and unworthy. Responsibility, unworthy, and betrayal. Okay. And so when as an entrepreneur, there's so much responsibilities, right? But if we do not find or we are worth it, we are going to sabotage everything. We're going to betray ourselves. Okay, we're going to get so close to our success, and then we're just going to press that button, and it's just gonna explode everything that we work so hard towards. Okay, so be aware that that's how powerful your subconscious mind is. Okay, and recognizing these patterns will help you to understand that, hey, these are the responsibilities I've taken on as an entrepreneur. Okay, either you're on a healing journey or you're starting your business. These are my responsibility. I'm gonna go all in because I've invested all this money. I'm gonna go all in on my journey because I am worth it. I am worth it. And when I see signs of me starting to betray myself, to doubt myself, to question my unworthiness, I'm going to pause and ask, what evidence do I have to support that I'm unworthy? And if you can pinpoint to what that evidence is, then that is your job, to go and do the work and heal that part of your way of thinking, so that you do not end up portraying and sabotaging what you have spent so much money on and what you have created. Does that make sense? And so that self-worth, that sense of worthiness is so crucial. But just know that in just a split second here, you can press the button and you can just create chaos inside your head and betray yourself. So this is something to really be mindful of. So I'm keeping track of our time here to make sure that there are some room for questions at the end too, and discussion. So 3 tips to get you started. Number 1, get to the root of your fears and lean into it, right? We have fears of rejection, fear of abandonment, so much fear from like shame. And so we need to understand, where are all of this coming from? When it's surfaced for you, too often, I think that as entrepreneurs, we don't take the time to slow down because we fear that slowing down is going to jeopardize our success. And the work that I do in yoga and meditation is to do the opposite of that. The work that I do in yoga and meditation is to get you, to force you to slow down. And so the clients who I work with, a lot of them are high achievers, right? But they're also mothers. And so forcing them to practice yoga and meditation every week, right? They start to see and understand that, hey, when I'm sitting in the silence of my space here, I can really hear the chaos in my mind. I can hear the chaos in my mind. And too often we drown that chaos, the noises in the mind, by being distracted, by being busy, by hiring and working with multiple coaches at the same time, teaching us all these different techniques. And there's just so much noises, right? And so part of that is leaning in and really listening during a meditation session, to really listen and be like, wow, like this is surfacing for me. This fear is surfacing for me because I just fear that I'm not good enough. I'm fearing that I'm not good enough. And because I have that fear, I'm gonna go and latch on to all these different programs, all these different things that I'm spending so much money on, just to give me some sense of validation. I am good enough that I'm worth it, that I know what I'm talking about. So it's so important for entrepreneurs to really establish a sense of mindfulness practice. And I'm jumping ahead of myself, but so that we can practice releasing these fears, practice releasing it. Once we can hear the noise inside our head, then we can release it. And we release it in yoga and meditation by controlling our breath. And if you're somebody who's been following me for a while, you know that I talk a lot about, if you can control your breath, you can control your mind. If you can control your breath, you can control your mind. And what we're doing in yoga and meditation is to tap into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. If you just take a moment to just listen to your heartbeat, right? When you're doing something very unknown, something scary, something outside of your comfort zone, your heart starts to beat faster. And then your mind starts to tell you, okay, you got to fight it or run away, fight or flight. Right. And so if we continue to just function from a place of fight and flight, then we are neglecting the rest and digest part of us, the part of us that is calm, the part of us that can really help us to do some of this releasing work. And so breath work is so important in yoga. And this is everything that we do on the yoga mat, our stretches, our poses, our breath work, our meditation practice, everything that we do is to get us to mindfulness. And when we are mindful, then we can catch these signs of when we do self-sabotage, and then we can, then bounce back a little bit quicker. Okay. So hearing the chaos, right? Getting to the root of it is really to find time to hear and to hear the chaos that's happening in your mind. Okay. So practicing is by controlling your breath to control your mind, and then developing a mindfulness practice to help you bounce back quicker. Okay. So this is all important. And you can talk, you can read, you can go watch any like high performers, any high achievers, any CEO, every single one of them have a meditation, a yoga type practice for them to get to what they are. Like, how do you think they can be so creative, right? If our creativity resides in our subconscious mind, then we got to find ways to tap into that. And we can't get there if we're consistently in fight or flight, and we're consistently thinking that everyone hates us and that we're unworthy and that we're just not good enough. We can never get to be able to get to that level where we can lead from a place of peace, and we can really gift the world, gift our clients that sense of peace, that sense of acceptance, that sense of love and self-compassion. We can't do that if we are stuck within our own headspace of living in fear of not being good enough. So I hope that that makes sense. And so, what is your bounce back pattern? Do you know? Do you know that when you encounter something that you've never done before, do you notice what happens to your body? How does it react, right? Where does your mind take you? And so the beautiful thing about yoga and meditation is that in the practice that we do every single week, I always remind my clients, remove your mind to the back seat. It's always driving you, right? It's always driving you. And so if you can find a practice that can remove the mind to the back seat, and for you to learn the language of your body, and especially if you're sitting a lot, especially if you're always on the go, you cannot learn the language of your body if you don't take the time to understand what is it that your body is revealing to you. And then to learn through the yoga and meditation practice that your mind is not always telling you the truth. Your mind is not always telling you the truth, right? And to know that like the thoughts that we have turns into emotions, which turns into our behaviors. Thoughts turn into emotions, emotions turn into behaviors. And so it is crucial that as an entrepreneur, for you to be successful, for you to launch that high ticket program, for you to be able to show up to the world and gift your knowledge, your expertise, your love to the world that you're connecting to, that you have to know, you have to be aware of when you self-sabotage. You have to be aware of these signs so that you can bounce back quicker. And so with that, if any of you, I know this is super quick presentation, but I definitely am really interested in this type of work. And this is what I do within the Vibe Renegade method with my clients. And so if you're interested in just getting on a call with me, and this is free, okay? I'm not selling you anything. I'm genuinely interested in what is keeping you stuck. And so if you're interested in having that conversation, connect with me and we can go into that. And then also, if you're not following me yet, follow me inside On the Go Yoga for Ambitious Professionals. I go live every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time to talk about different topics. And this month, since it's the beginning of the year, I'm talking about attachment to our identities, right? And so all of this has to come back to self-sabotaging, unworthiness, not feeling good enough. And so let's get away from that, right? That's us playing small. Let's get away from that and get into having more self-compassion, being more aware of ourselves, of our thoughts, so that we can show up and really gift our presence to the world so that everyone can benefit. And know that when we do that, when we do the work and we do the work to know, we can show up and we can really give other people the permission to then show up and be exactly who they are. And so with that, I think I have one more slide. Hold on. Oh, no, that's it. That's it. So I'm going to stop my screen share here and then check and see if Elizabeth or anyone has any questions for me.
Thank you so much, Kajwa. That was so good. I do have a couple of questions. And for those that are watching, go ahead and drop your questions into the chat or the comments. If you've got specific questions for Kajwa, we still have a couple minutes here. So I really love how you were talking about why people need to care about self-sabotaging patterns, especially when you were talking about how self-sabotage could look like distractions. I really love how you even, and I wanted to ask you a little bit more about this, about, you know, two things. I mean, you talked about how you were a program director. You were in front of large crowds. You're extroverted. You tend to just talk to people. Yeah, why do you think it was so hard for you to be visible for your business as a yoga coach to even, I mean, people look at you now on camera, there's like, no way is Gajula like shy, but like, why do you think it was so hard? Because it wasn't like you were afraid to speak in front of large crowds. You had a career doing that, but why was it so difficult, you think, to make that transition when it became about your own business?
That is key there, when it became about my business. When it became about me, because this is my baby. Like, this is my program, my business is, it's like, I feel like I have to show up naked. Like when it's my business, when it's my business, it's about my value, my beliefs, it's about my conviction. And so what if, like, I go into the what ifs of everything? What if I don't know what I'm talking about? What if people question me, they reject me? What if, right? And so, like, when I just think it's human nature that, like, we can promote other people, right? Like, we can praise other people, we can work for programs and companies and know their mission and vision. But when it comes to us, it's like, I'm showing up butt naked, Elizabeth.
And I know that you're at a time crunch, so I love that. So, you know, I feel like we shouldn't leave the audience hanging. It sounds like, you know, you mentioned that they can get in touch with you with the book a call. You also have an event that's coming up as well too. Do you want to just share with the audience your 5-day challenge that's coming up later this month too?
Yes, I have an event that's coming up at the end of this month here. And so I'm going to dive way more into this topic of self-sabotage. And so if you're interested, comment interested, and then I can come and drop the link or connect with you one-on-one on that.
Yeah, so go ahead and type Kajwa interested into the chat or the comments, and my team and I will make sure to make that introduction. So share with the audience a little bit about, why do you think, I mean, it took you 5 months, you and I were working together before you finally quit. So I got a question for you, because I often go back and forth with this, especially as a business coach and especially as growing and building my own business. What do you think comes first, the mindset or the skill set? It's like the chicken and the egg debate.
Definitely the mindset.
Yeah. So what had to shift for you before you finally quit your job? I mean, it took you 5 months, and I know we were working together and there was like resistance and just a little bit, you know, you said, you know, just took me a little bit longer to finally click. So what, I mean, you have to have the mindset to even start, go say, hey, this is really the business that I want to build for myself. And then you have to get into the mindset of growing your business to a point where you could actually quit your 9 to 5. What really shifted for you?
Yeah, I think something I mentioned earlier is knowing that I needed to go in the direction of my peace. And I was not finding that in my 9 to 5 job. I was at the point where I felt like I had maximized my strengths in that arena, right? And then coming into an entrepreneurship, yes, there were so many skills and so many things that I needed to learn, but that it was a whole mindset shift of being more visible, of, you know, really just talking on the online space here, most of the time we're like talking to ourselves. And so how do you how do you become okay with that? I mean, like, I don't get my students raising their hands. I don't get, like that kind of interaction. And so that skills, I think came later when I was sold on my conviction, when I was sold on why am I doing this, and that I can giving myself permission to just be imperfect, to not be a mess, like still show up and look good, but like, but to have fun, to give myself permission and like to have fun. And that's what has been happening, and to really understand that I'm not for everybody, and those who are connected to me, those who are vibing with me, then let's go ahead and create something beautiful together.
And I love what you said about that, Kajua, which, I mean, you call it, really going in the direction of your piece. I've been coaching for a really long time. And when I think about this kitchen and egg question of what comes first, mindset or skill set, I actually think that sometimes what it's really about is trust. It's really about trust. And this is why, when I'm working with you or each of my clients, it's really just the skill set, but it's really leaning into your coach, to trust your coach, that even though you don't yet trust yourself, that you're trusting the guidance from your coach, and you just got to trust the process and do the skill set. The mindset will catch up. I often say your heart has to lead and then your mind catches up, right? And so I love that. So if you are loving this topic, you're loving this conversation, definitely follow Xiong. She has a big event coming up at the end of this month. And if you really want to elevate your message and marketing, I've been working with Xiong now for nearly a year, and we nearly increased her price point by 6x, I have to say, and shorten her delivery cycle, not because it's really been about the delivery, but it's been really about the high quality results that Xiong has been able to deliver. I want to invite you to join me at the Captivate to Close Masterclass. It's happening on January 17th. You're going to see that my team's been dropping the link here. So you have plenty of options here, folks, to be able to step into 2022 in a very powerful way, focused on your mindset with Xiong, focused on finding your peace, focused on really recognizing those self-sabotaging behavior, right? From a mindfulness perspective, as well as the skill set and mindset in what I'm doing with the Captivate to Close Masterclass. So we want to invite you to join us and really step into your empowered CEO for 2022. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.